Hey guys, Billy from Ad Support here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to build a Typeform application funnel. And the benefit of doing this is that you're going to get way more qualified calls for your high ticket info product. You're going to send way better data back to Facebook on who's qualified and exactly the type of calls you're looking for. We'll go into more of how that works later on. We're still running VSL call funnels for a lot of our clients, but I think this is the next iteration of it, with CPMs going up, obviously CPLs going up as well. For opt-ins, this is probably the next generation of it, and something that we're seeing work well for clients at the moment, and we're seeing a lot of top people in the industry doing it. So showing you behind the scenes how to actually set this up and how to do it yourself. So again, we're running this both on Google Ads and predominantly on Facebook. So cool. Just go down as far as what the video about. So we're going to show you how to set up what I believe to be pretty simple Typeform that will generate qualified calls, and if you get more qualified calls at a lower cost, you'll get more profit from your ads. And then I'm also going to be diving in and just actually showing you a fully built up Typeform, so you can use the questions, insert your own that are relevant to your offer, implement lead scoring as well, which is a key part of what makes this work, and that will make sure that you get maximum results by just improving the data flow back to Facebook. So what is Typeform? Super simple explanation. You probably already know this. It's a form software. It's pretty slick. It's probably better than, again, if you're using ClickFunnels or Go High Level or anything like that, it's better than that. It's built obviously for purpose. The whole thing that Typeform does, they only do forms. So again, if you use something like GHL, like forms are part of what they do, but it's not the whole thing. So Typeform's really set it up in a way where the forms are their primary focus, and as such, the features and stuff are perfect. So very useful for high ticket offers where we're playing. It's not like a low ticket funnel where potentially quality isn't an issue. It's just a case of getting the lowest cost and the highest ROAS, and it doesn't really matter who buys. Whereas the game we're playing when we're doing selling a course or coaching is that we need to have quality calls for us to close. So that's why we need to use lead scoring, app grading, etc. for two reasons. First of all, it's going to give us better results if we're feeding only qualified calls and applications back to Facebook, and second of all, it's going to give us an early indicator as well, so we don't need to. We know if an ad set or a campaign is performing, and we know the quality that's coming from that campaign. If it's going to lead to sales, we don't have to wait for it to spend what our average CAC is, or book 10 calls and have them all take place before we make a decision on whether it's good or not. So. And then obviously the last bit here is just it enables us to implement logic and a disqualification, if I could figure out how to spell disqualification. So cool. Context of the video, really, like, this is going to work best if you have a high ticket offer that's like 3K plus. Again, I've seen people do this for low ticket, and I've seen people do it to warm traffic, etc. This is going to be predominantly based around paid ads because that's the most effective use of this. But again, you could apply the same thing to an organic funnel if you're running it underneath your YouTube video, if you're posting it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. It's still going to work. So basically the setup is, as far as the software stack, we actually use ClickFunnels, which is going to be the examples that I show you, but again, Go High Level is pretty much a clone. So you'll have a ClickFunnels or Go High Level funnel, you'll have Typeform on the landing page in the pop-up, or you can just embed it below the video. Then we're going to send them to Calendly. Again, the Calendly is going to be embedded on the Go High Level or ClickFunnels. You can probably do it with the Go High Level calendar. It should work in a pretty similar way, but yeah, that's it. So just going to give you an overview of the funnel before we dive into actually how to build the Typeform, because the context of where the Typeform is obviously important. So first step is a landing page. So again, this is just a rough guide. So really you're going to have logo at the top. If we put it, logo, an avatar call out. So marketing agency, coaches and course sellers for us. Again, whoever it is for you, whether it's like options traders, whatever it is, whoever it is that's your market, you want to call that out in the top of the landing page. Then we're going to have a headline and a subhead. Again, there's different ways to do this, but essentially this is pre-head, headline and subhead, which is pretty standard. Headline complex. So in the headline, you really want to speak to the specific result or outcome, and normally put a time frame on it as well, if that's possible for you. So we help people achieve X result in X amount of time, and then typically what the subhead would be without the things that they don't want. So we help you achieve a 2.5x cash ROAS at scale with your paid ads in the next 90 days without praying to the algorithm gods without launching 300 campaigns and without, you know, guessing whether a campaign is going to work or not. So whatever the things are that they don't want, that's kind of what we want to put in the subhead. Again, what we've gone with here is something slightly different, which is just kind of the mechanism and helping people understand exactly how we help them achieve the result, which can again build trust. But yeah, so that's how that works. Again, you see 5-minute VSL, again, 5 to 10 minutes is probably the spot you want to be in. The most important part is the hook and the opening, so you really want to get straight to the point and get straight to the action. I've seen people actually put the start of the first half of the VSL on like 1.25x speed, just so to race through things and kind of get the information over to the person as quickly as possible. So that's something you can explore, but really you just want to be making sure that you're concise and get straight to the point. This is the outcome we help you achieve, here's how we help you do it. That's really what people are doing. Again, when they're watching the video and when they're landing on this page, they're just thinking, what's in it for me, what's in it for me? So the sooner you can answer that question, the better. Below that, we've got a CTA button. So in this case, the button actually just opens a pop-up with the Typeform embedded on it. And then below that, typical thing we'll put on landing page is just some social proof. So again, we've got here a couple of authority building things as far as our experience. So, you know, how much we spent on ads, how many case studies and big clients that we've worked with, and then in the middle there's a couple of video testimonials from our biggest clients, Charlie Morgan and William Brown. So you can do something similar. Doesn't have to follow this exact format. Again, you could have 4 video testimonials, you could have 2 video testimonials and 2 written testimonials, you could have your Trustpilot on there, like we've done for other clients. Whatever it is that's going to build authority and show that you're the person that can help them achieve this result, because that's, you first need to tell them about the result that you're going to help them achieve. Then they need to obviously believe that they can achieve it for themselves. So that might be through what I've said there as far as a mechanism or how you help them achieve a result. And then they need to believe that other people have received that result, and that, you know, that gives them the confidence that they will be able to. So really you want to handle those 3 things on the landing page. So that's how that works. Then we're going to go to the Typeform, like I said, is in the pop-up. So again, we're going to have lead scoring, and we're going to have 5 to 8 questions on that. We'll go into exactly how to build it slightly later on. Just want to run you through a overview to begin with. Then what happens here is that there's lead scoring in place, and so if, again, the qualification is going to be slightly different for you depending on what you'll know what makes a good client and what doesn't. So based on their score, if they're qualified, we'll send them to a qualified scheduling page, which again, super simple, just headline and then the calendar. That's all that they can do on that page, is just book a call. So no testimonials, no case studies, nothing else for them to click on, just a calendar and just a headline above it, basically saying book a call to see how we can help you achieve X result. Cool, so you're going to have a unique calendar event on this page. So whether it's qualified 1 or Q1, and then for the disqualified page it's going to be Q2. You want to have a unique event so you can see which calls are coming through, which are qualified and which aren't, because there's going to be a testing process. So what I recommend you do in the beginning, which is what we do in the beginning for clients, is that we have a calendar on both pages, just to validate that the disqualification that we're doing is working. If it's a case where all of the disqualified calls that come to this page that book a call are all like terrible quality, no point letting them book, you can just remove the calendar and then just have maybe a link to your free group, or whether it's a school group or a Facebook group or whatever it is, not allow them to book. You know, and there's another way you can optimize it too, which is that if there's people coming through to the disqualified page that should be qualified, you can update the lead scoring, update some of the questions to just filter that out better, because ideally where you want to get to is that only qualified people are allowed to book, and everybody else you just funnel into a low ticket offer or a free group or whatever it is. So at the moment, if you have this layout where there's a calendar on both pages, you will fire the submit application event on both pages. Again, you can change that in the future. I'll talk about the reasons to do that and how to do that. Cool. After these people are scheduled, there'll be, again, 2 separate landing page, 2 separate thank you pages, which is again why you need 2 separate events, so you can redirect them in Calendly or in your Go High Level form. So on the qualified page, this is roughly what it looks like. Again, congratulate them on their appointment being scheduled. Then you're going to have a short video from you with pre-call information. Basically going to be like a lot of the calendar things will come through like this. They'll need to click I know the sender. You want them to accept the Google Calendar invite. That has a massive impact on show rate. So you should explain that in the video. Explain the expectations for the call, like show up, don't be taking the call in your car, don't be taking your call with, like when you babysitting your kids, don't be just distracted. Like, show up prepared, show up with what you want to, what your goals are, what you want to get out of the call, etc. You just really want to prep them and preface them as much as possible in the video, and then you want some written instructions as well about the most important steps for them to do, like this, like saying that they know to send a, like, accepting that and adding it to their own calendar. That improves the show we've found, and then you can have a bunch of client testimonials below it as well that they can look through if they want. With testimonials, I don't actually look at quality being as important. Obviously, the better the quality, that is, it's true that you should have as good a testimonial as you can have, but I really look at them as a heuristic, which is just that if somebody sees that there's loads, so for example on this page, this is just cropped off, there's I think 16 videos on that page of client interviews, which are like an hour long, 50 minutes long, something like that. If they watch those, they can see the results that people, real people got from the program. So you really just want to have as many as possible. So if it's written testimonials, just put as many as you've got. If it's video testimonials, put as many as you've got. Obviously don't go overboard and have like 100 videos, because it'll make the page load really, really slowly, but within reason, put as many as you can on there. So one important thing here is that we want to fire the scheduled event on the qualified thank you page, but we don't want to fire it on the disqualified page, at least for now, because that means that we're only sending the most qualified calls back to Facebook as a conversion event. This will reduce the amount of volume, which will potentially have some negative effect, but I think it's outweighed by the fact that we're just sending the most qualified calls, so Facebook knows exactly who's converting and who are the best people and who we want to go after. So this will improve the quality over time. Again, it may be slower for Facebook to optimize given the lower volume, but over time it will pay dividends. So this is definitely how you should do it. So fire the schedule event on the qualified page. Do not fire it on the disqualified page. Cool. And then basically once they've booked a call, we just send them a pre-call email sequence, so email and SMS, and sometimes we'll have the closer or the setters reach out. If it's you taking the calls, you could do it as well. Just send them a personal WhatsApp or whatever, probably like 3 hours before. Just say, hey, looking forward to speaking to you at X time. See you then, basically, something like that. Because again, with the so much automation, so much AI setters and all of that crap, like just being personal and just sending, whether you could even send a voice note or a quick loom and just say, hey, looking through your application here, excited to talk to you. I really think we've got some ideas for how we could help you. I've put a plan together, excited to share it with you on the call, something like that. That's going to have a big impact on show rate, and obviously on how well the call goes, because they've been pre-faced. So normally what we do 24 hours before, 3 hours before, and then 10 minutes before. I'm a big fan of like 5 to 10 minutes before, because if you do 15 minutes or even 30 minutes, there's a possibility that they could get busy or start doing other things. If something's in 10 minutes time, there's not really time to be going and messing about and doing other things. So you really want to remind them and then have them be able to jump on the call or, start making preparations to get on the call straight away. So that's really how that works. Cool. So zooming out, that's an overview of the funnel. Again, I think that's pretty simple. You should be able to figure that out for yourself as far as how to build those pages. Again, the schedule page is super simple. It's literally just a headline and a calendar embed, and then we still have the logo banner on the schedule page. So then as far as the Typeform setup, I'll go through this stuff in a bit, but what we really want to do is show you what we've got. So this is probably more questions than you'd want to add. I really, like I've said on here, I really want like 5 to 8 is like the ideal, probably closer to 5. So I really try and think about what questions you need and what you don't need. If there's something that you don't need and it's just a nice to have, I would just get rid of it in favor of less questions, especially in the beginning. This is a big mistake I see a lot of people make when it comes to running ads for clients. They really try and focus on the qualification up front before they've got any leads or got any data. You should really just focus on volume, because in the beginning you have a volume problem, you don't have enough leads coming in, so just get as much volume as you can. Then once you find out what the lead quality is, what are the pitfalls, who are the bad fits, then you can start implementing more friction and trying to filter those people out. But in the beginning, if you try and filter those people off the bat, you're just going to send your CPL super high. Again, feed less data to the platforms about who's converting, and it's just a recipe for disaster in my opinion. So in the beginning, do as few questions as you can. I'd rather you were more aggressive, didn't have enough questions and then had to add them in at a later date, versus you went crazy, had 15, 20 questions, and then nobody was booking calls and nobody was filling out the application and everybody was bouncing. So this is a rough overview. So really you want to collect contact information, you want to have some niche related questions just to filter out people. So it's like if you know the big things that make someone qualified to be on the call or not, whether it's they've got a certain amount of experience with trading or they've got a certain amount of experience with running an SMMA or whatever it is. And then if there's a certain, problems that they have, I'll show you the ones that we have on a Typeform. Then you want to kind of get what their current monthly revenue is and what their target monthly revenue is. That's going to give you an idea of where they're at right now, probably a bit of an idea of their financial position, and then also how keen they are to grow and where they want to get to. And then some other information here about location and age. We've found that to be a big determining factor as far as the close rate and sharp rate of calls, and how much we're able to help people. So that's something that's a non-negotiable for us on the form. Might be different in your case, but for the niche that we're in and the offer that we're running at the moment, that is the case. So coming over to Typeform. So again, first ones are super simple. First name, last name, email. There is an option to add like a contact info one here, but it adds it all together here. I'm not a big fan of that, so I would probably just not have that for now. Let's just get rid of that. Cool. So I just have it as simple fields here. Again, it creates like a flow. They start filling out questions, clicking submit, and it kind of gets them into the flow rather than having them fill out a bunch of stuff at the beginning. I found this has a lower bounce rate. So yeah, name, email, phone number. Something we're going to test in the future is having the phone number and email at the end. That's not something we're doing right now. Again, the bounce rate isn't massive for those questions, so I don't think it's a big issue. Cool. Then we've got how would you describe your business? So we found this to be pretty indicative of whether they're a good fit or not. So that's a question that's key for us, and that does have some lead scoring associated with it, which I'll show you later on. Next is asking age. So we just ask it in the context of not being able to work with someone that's 18 years of age. That's probably just a framing, to be honest, and makes it more reasonable that we're asking this question as far as how old they are. Again, this has lead scoring associated with it. This is a big indicator of sales performance, so something we definitely want to gather and make sure we're getting calls in the right age group. Next is what's your current monthly revenue, what's your target monthly revenue. Again, we look at obviously this as a idea of their financial position, and then also we can see if there's a discrepancy. If they're at 1k a month but they want to get to 500k a month, we know that they're not being serious. They're a bit delusional, so that might not be a great call. Again, what's stopping them from hitting their target monthly revenue? These are typically the buckets we see. So again, this is multiple choice. We let them pick as many as they want. Cool. Then we've got a text field. So this is what product service do you offer and who are your ideal customers. This is something that we've found to be hugely beneficial both to the salespeople and also to us as far as determining whether they're a good fit or not. So this is something we definitely collect. Having a text field instead of a multiple choice is going to lower the completion rate, and it is going to cause some drop off because which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you want to add a bit of friction so that people don't just like spam yes through the form, don't think about their answers. So we've found whatever drop off we've got from this question is pretty inconsequential compared to the good data that we get from them answering it. This is a very specific question though, so if you have a big super long-winded question that's like, what are your goals over the next 10 years, where do you want to get to, what is your vision for the future, or anything vague, that's going to cause massive drop up because people have to think very hard about what it is, whereas the people that are filling this form out, they should be pretty clear on what their product or service is, so it's going to be easy for them to fill it out. Cool. What do you charge for your service, product or course? Again, simple question. And then where are you located? Again, this is a big indicator of whether our ads are reaching the right people or not. And then lastly, this is just a prep for the calendar and prep for their booking, which is, are they the sole decision maker in their business? So again, just yes, no, or other for that one. So basically, let me take you over to workflow, which is going to show you the scoring. So as we go down here, kind of like golf, lower the score, the better. You could make it opposite so that the higher score is better. It's really up to you. I think this is the easiest way to do it. So again, coaches and course creators and agency owners are our main demographic. So that is the lowest score. Consultants, okay. And then if they put other and they don't fit into these three categories, it's probably a bit of a red flag. So that's a 3. Here again with ages, 18 to 30 is our best demographic. So those are the most qualified people. Again, if they're outside of that, potentially it's going to be a bit higher. Again, these are all going to be added together, so it does enable some variance. So if they answer like good for this, they're a good fit here, maybe they're 30 to 40, we're like, oh, that's a bit weird. and then they answer. Again, these aren't scored because we haven't found them to have a big impact on quality. They're just information we want to collect. Same here. Again, and where are they located as well? So if they're located in the right area, they're a right fit as far as their business, but they're out of their typical age range, they're still going to be qualified. It's just if they answer a bad answer for all 3 questions, they're going to be disqualified. So basically that's how that works. And then if we come over, what Typeform actually enables you to do, if I get my big head out of the way, is select different endings. So we have, again, similar to, remember the funnel overview. So if we go back down here, so if they're qualified, they go to the qualified schedule page, which is this one here. If they're disqualified, they go to this one. And if they're like super disqualified and they have a really, really high answer, or they answer badly for every question, they're gonna still go to the disqualified page, but it does sort them out, and then that will give us reporting on how many of those people are actually very disqualified, as it says here. So that's basically how it works. You want to set the lead scoring scores here to basically give a little bit of variance. So the best answer, the lowest score that they could possibly get is 3. Again, if they answer slightly badly for one of the questions, they're going to end up with a maximum of 5. If they're outside of that, so that 6 would probably be 1 good answer, 2 bad answers. And again, this one is probably 3 bad answers. So they're like in the wrong category for 3 in a row, which probably is going to disqualify them. So yes, that's how it works. I think that's pretty much everything on that side. Again, pretty simple as far as it's super simple as far as how to set up questions. The only ones really we use are email, phone number, multiple choice, and then short text and long text. So I wouldn't worry about any of the other ones here for now. So yes, that's pretty much it. Come back over to the mirror board. So yeah, last thing I wanted to talk about. So don't just copy the questions exactly as far as what I've done in that form. It needs to be tailored to your offer, what makes someone a good fit for yours. So again, it could be, what is your experience with options trading? And if they answer, 1 year, they're a good fit. If they answer less than 3 months, maybe it's a multiple choice, that they're not a good fit. Again, what you're struggling with right now, maybe in your case, it is more of an indicator of whether they're a good fit or not. If they say client acquisition, they're a great fit. If they say sales, maybe that's not something you can help people with. So you disqualify them based on that. So yeah, that's basically what you want to do. You want to have the basic info, first name, last name, get the ball rolling with some easy questions. Then you can talk about the pain points, like what are you struggling with. You can talk about budget if you want. Again, the question with us as far as what is your monthly revenue, that gives us an indicator of how much budget they're going to have available to them. Then the niche specific questions, which are just going to be, again, tailored to you, the ones that you'll need to come up with. I think you'll know what it is. It should be easy. If you've taken enough sales calls, you know what makes someone a good fit and what doesn't. So you can just add some questions in there that are going to exclude people that aren't, and kind of self-sort for people that are a good fit. And then obviously after that, they go to the booking. As far as how to optimize it going forward, you want to try moving the contact info to the end of the form. Not something we tested yet because the initial results have been good. We haven't needed to, but essentially the drop-off's going to be bigger potentially if you have it at the front, because you're asking a bit of information before they've kind of got in a flow and started answering more questions. Whereas if you do it at the end, they should be brought in. They've already answered 5 questions. The 6th and 7th question should be pretty easy for them to fill out, even if it is email and phone number. That said, you'll see drop-off anyway from asking for that information. What you need to do is look at the drop-off and adapt and remove problem questions. So if I just show you on this one, so we can go to results, you can see the amount of submissions. So we've got a 35% completion rate. You can see the drop-off on particular questions. So again, most people are bouncing at the initial part of the form where we ask for the first name. Nothing we can do about that. There's nothing to be changed about this question that's going to impact that. You'll see there's a slow drop-off. Again, email and phone number, about a 10% drop-off on that one. And then if you come down, the other biggest drop-off is the question that's a text field instead of a multiple choice, because again, it's more difficult for them to answer. But again, 8% and 4 of the total views is not a big deal here. And then the last one is the decision maker one, which is something we're going to look at and potentially change the wording of that question or remove it. But you want to look at here, if you have anything above 10%, that's what I would really be looking at, again, other than email and phone number. Again, it could be an option to move these to the end. We could do that, monitor it, see if it goes down below 10% of drop off at the bottom. But that's really what you're going to be looking for as far as optimizing it. And then again, if there's a question that you feel like you don't need that's causing a bunch of drop off, just go ahead and remove it and see how it goes without it. And similar to the point I mentioned earlier, you want to focus on volume in the beginning and just forget about adding friction until you totally need to do it, and you realize you're getting bad quality. Because when you first start doing this, you've got a volume problem, not a quality problem. You really want to validate it with data. Once you have 100 calls on the calendar or 50 calls on the calendar, and you can say, okay, of these 50 calls, these 10, 15, 20 people weren't qualified. Here's exactly the reasons why. Here's the question we can add into the Typeform to determine that up front, so we don't have these calls on our calendar. But yeah, ultimately, if you have spare space on your calendar, your sales calendar or your salesperson's sales calendar, you just want to be filling it up and then solving it with triage, or solving it with the Typeform at a later date. But volume is the king in the beginning. So that's everything, nothing more. Any questions you've got, just put them in the comments of this video and I'll reply to them as quickly as I can, normally within 24 hours. So if you need any help building this out, any questions you've got about how to specifically do this for you, any questions you want to run by me, let me know. I've got another video on exactly how to run ads to a funnel like this, so I'll put that in the description of this video. You can always just obviously have a look on the channel. It's probably my most popular video anyway. So yeah, speak to you soon. Hope you're well, and hope this works for you.